We are live again on Arts Gallery Shanghai IGTV for another series of artist talks, this time with Weina Li, a Chinese artist, and Irina Banari, a Romanian artist. I am Diana Roman, as you already know, CEO of Arts Gallery Shanghai, and we are here with this series of artist talks because we are having here the first exhibition of the women collective group, a studio of her own, women artists group, and we welcome you all here. Let me introduce you shortly, our artists today, and you can switch to your view, Irina. We're talking about Weina Li. She's an independent photographer and artist. She graduated from Birmingham Institute of Art and Design with a BA Arts in Media and Communication and MA in Visual and Communication. She has worked with the domestic and international magazines on culture and art feature stories. Her personal works include photography, video, and performance art, and were exhibited in photo fairs, Shanghai, and Ningbo International Photography Week, among others. Thank you, Weina, for being here. And shortly introduce Irina Banari, and then we'll go further on with our questions. Irina Banari, she's born in the Republic of Moldova in 1986. She's an honorary member of the Romanian Artists Union. She has an MA in Strategies of Creation and Industrial Design within the National University of Arts of Bucharest. And a BA in Fine Arts, Decorative and Design at the same institution. She participated in major exhibitions held in Bucharest, Romania, and Shanghai, Hangzhou, North Carolina, Paris, and that's a very difficult name of a town in South Korea, but I'm not going to try to say it. I'm afraid I'm gonna bite my tongue. And other countries and regions. Hello, Irina. Thank you for being here.
Hi.
So I'm going to ask questions, and then you will answer separately, and then we will see your materials on the TV. Present your artworks. Make it interactive some way. So, Weina, how did you start? When did you realize that art is what you want to do?
Well, actually, I did visual communication for my master's, and that's when I started to get to know what art was, what art is. And then, but after graduated from master's, I started to work with different magazines. And then, in about 7 years ago, then I started to create art. But to really feel like self-expressing as an artist, it was a few years ago when I connect my own stories, my own experience through my artwork. And I think that's when I started to feel,
Yeah, well, a very interesting story. How about yours, Irina? When did you start?
Well, totally different. In my case, it was, I think it started actually when I was a child, like, I don't know, probably a typical response. So I was drawing on the walls and everything, and my mom was kind of encouraging me and start applying to different competitions, and I start winning things. And then, I don't know, it was kind of a natural path. But something like as a moment, like it would be a childhood memory when I was in kindergarten, and I was drawing high heels, and as all little girls I was saying I'm gonna go into fashion design, but that was just a short episode. Afterwards, when I grow older, I realized it's I don't know, superficial, temporary. I don't know, fashion is not something I really belong to. I would like something more serious, more deep, I guess, and went for fine art, to study.
Yes, so interesting stories and powerful experiences, I'm sure. Weina, what inspires you What connection do you have with your art, and what has been a seminal experience?
As I was saying, in recent years, I think my artworks are more connected with my own experience. It was actually through some traumatic experience which I was trying to find a way to find a channel out, also to speak up about my certain experience. So for a few years ago, I started to do some photo journal. And back then, I didn't know what it meant for me. And then I carry on. So in 2018, I had an experience. So within a few years, that I felt I've lost everything. And the career, a long-term relationship, my past, and again, like my dad. So that really hit me for like, just when you realize like things can't get worse, then another thing happened. So there was a certain time I didn't know how to deal with it. I think my mind was blocked. I was trying to filter out everything that's happened. And then I thought, I can't be like that. I have to drag myself out from the deep hole. Then I started to, try using art to express what I feel. And I think, that's when I felt like art really connected with me. Maybe I can show some of the
Yes,
works
please.
But when you connected with the nature, with the wind and everything, you actually feel your body. And so I was there, and I took my clothes off. I took a self-portrait for myself. And then those were my friends. When I was talking to my friends in one occasion when we were in the nature, just walking, I was talking about my experience, and she said she connected with that. She wanted to do something like that also, and we just did it instantly. And those are some of the work I did for two artists. So Frank is also an artist. Yeah.
Powerful.
And those are two different friends. So both of them like the connection, like to feel the. Back to the story I had before, when I was in artist residency program in 2019. At that moment, after I experienced everything I had, at one night, it actually started with a dream. When I felt like someone or something was like chasing after me, but I didn't know what it was. I was kept running in the dream, and then I woke up. When I was waking up, I was screaming help, help. And at that moment, I was thinking about it. What does it mean? Because all those time I kept an armor around me. I didn't want to show my weakness. I didn't want to show what has happened to me to other people, because I felt I would feel vulnerable and I felt insecurity. But then it was that moment I felt maybe that was a warning sign or alert for me to reaching out for help. And there's nothing wrong to admit your weakness.
Of course.
To reaching for help.
Of
so
course.
I did a performance art when I was, this is about like minus 15 at the time, and it was like an ice river. So I was using the cover kind of like a cocoon, because at the time I felt I was still in the cocoon. I still wasn't fully comfortable of talking about my experience.
I remember seeing this first movie at your solo show with Ifan, the curator at ARTZ 1929.
Yeah, so what I did was, I didn't have any sound with the video, because when I was in the nature, I felt, with bare feet, feeling the ice. At the beginning, it was like super cold. But then later on, this coldness I felt came into my body, felt transformed to a kind of energy, to give me energy. So I let myself just to relax and listen to the nature sound. And when the nature sound lead you, you felt the connection, like the wind or the ice crack, the little sound, you can feel the little sound that you don't normally feel. And that was like a great experience.
Definitely powerful emotions and coming from powerful life experiences. It's amazing that you grab yourself, your soul, you become stronger, then you put all your dramas and sufferings into art, and I know sufferings are much more creative than
Unfortunately, yes.
than let's say a very peaceful and beautiful life. What about you, Irina? What inspires you? What's your connection to your art?
I'll reach later my PPT because it's different program. For me, it's more like I'm inspired by social narratives. Sometimes I don't know. I have some special little things on the street. I photograph, and then later on I kind of develop it in my art. Basically, I'm pretty much inspired from street. But for sure, I agree about this. And I feel it myself in my process that it's a lot about summing up your experiences. So it's hard to explain. Well, for sure, when you have some certain traumatic experience, you can actually put it better, pinpoint it what and when and how it developed. In my case, it's more hard to explain. It's more maybe understanding of the world and how it's emerged after a certain experience. It can take many layers of different things, and it can take many years as well. So sometimes I'm working on one project already slow, so it can have this multiple layer narrative.
Yes, we have here some of your earlier works from Homo Faber series. We also have your wonderful ceramic installations, and I can see your searches are so intermedial and a lot of doubts that every artist is normal to have. Also, those doubts are very creative. The insecurity of one's soul expressed through art is always creative.
In Homo Faber, I was actually it was a starting point from a reading from a book, Hannah Arendt, with
Yes.
a condition of human. I forgot exactly. It was many years ago. A Modern Man, I think it was the title, and he was actually highlighting this concept of Homo Faber. And I took it because somehow I'm also artists in general are men who are creating things, maybe
Existential themes are so actual. Existentialism in art is so powerful in the 20th century and 21st century. Therefore, go through to this direction when you want to express yourself, because you'll always find powerful messages. Weina, how do you work?
Normally, well, sometimes I have some ideas, and that idea builds up maybe for months or even years. And sometimes I will write it down. I have emotional journal, something like that, and a sketchbook.
Yes.
So I would write down all the ideas I have at that moment. Maybe nothing happens for a while, but later on, you plant a little seed. Maybe you will grow later.
Yes.
Yeah,
definitely.
I agree about this sketchbook. I also have plenty of sketchbooks,
Yeah.
and actually, I think it's somehow unconsciously this creative. It's a creative process which is actually evolving. Maybe,
For sure.
maybe not necessarily having a specific topic. It's just it's basically how you speak to yourself. It's like a monologue of your, fluidity and experiences going through your hand, and just when you doodle.
Yeah. When you are doing the process of doing it, it's like a self brainstorming. It really helps.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And what is, let's say, and now, Irina, how do you work?
Well, I'm tempted, and probably it's gonna happen by my next project. Hopefully, it's gonna happen soon. I want to work with actually natural things like beetles. I thought Taobao is great. little videos and buy like 1,000 and then to kind of build. It's also like a powerful symbol. I don't know, in different cultures, like from Egypt to I don't know, and also this like a protective thing you were mentioning. I want to go into that. Also, three-dimensional in sculpture. Somehow I feel like I want to go into three-dimensional right now more than just two-dimensional. Of course, the doodling part, the sketchbook, the works on paper remains, but it's like something which is always there. Now it's not so serious. Somehow not a serious body of work you would go and exhibit.
Do you think when you work something with your hand is different?
Yeah, I'm very tactile. I'm totally. I cannot totally go like for sure. Like photography is part of the process. In my case, it's not a medium. It's a part of the documentation, research, references. But it's definitely rarely. Sometimes I'm using it, but it depends. So I like this textural and crafty things more. I don't know. That's the thing with the ceramics. I like how it transforms from mud, water, fire into something really hard, and almost like a stone, which can be preserved for centuries. Within any culture, you can find this traditional ceramics, which is kind of part of culture.
It's very interesting how both of you have this intention to not stick to one medium, to one direction, and to express yourself fully in each and every way. That's creativity, and that's not self-limitation. That's more exploring and finding other ways to express your ideas and thoughts. That's excellent. Weina, what's your favorite artwork of yours?
Well, I would say the favorite one is the next one, but like for the moment,
that's good.
For the moment, like the work I've done last year, I think I definitely feel deep connection with that I can show, because some of the artwork that has a story behind. Like we were talking about, we do some sketches and then or like journals that you remember it years later maybe. So there's one work in particular that's this one. So this was actually the idea I had more like an emotion I had in 2018 when I had the experience, because I feel like I could, if I close my eyes, I could see myself drowning into sucked in this black hole that I couldn't, no one, I had nowhere to escape, and no one was dragging me out, and I feel like it's drowning. So I wrote that in the journal, and then later on when I was doing my work, I felt this pretty much kind of expressed how I felt at the moment, and
that's a powerful
that's
photograph, a composition, and behind a powerful story. And I must say that I was very touched when I visited your salon show last December in Convention 50. Your stories are definitely powerful, and women from all over the world should not be afraid to express them through writing or even telling everyone, or expressing through other kinds of art.
For sure. When you were saying that, I have so another work I did was particularly I want to kind of send a message. Like it took me years and years to have the courage to actually speak up, because so when I was very young, like I was sexually assaulted by a family member, like someone who's a few years older than me, and I didn't know what it was because we had no sex education back then. So I didn't know what it was. I knew it was something off about it, but I didn't even tell my parents. I didn't do anything. And maybe I didn't think of it for a long time until I knew what it was. When I think back, I think it's always on the back of my mind. That really hit me, that I started to few times I had nightmares about that, and I cannot blame myself, and that's what we're saying about women need to speak up, because the society isn't supporting women as much, because when you speak up, you become a victim again.
Yeah.
You have to explain yourself, or that's like another part of hurting yourself.
Yeah.
But I also blame myself for, like, could I have done something? Could I have told my parents? Or I still don't have the courage to look into that person's eye and ask, why did you do what you did? So I'm hoping through my arts work,
Yes,
that,
exercising out of you
Yes.
all those feelings, it's good enough.
Yeah,
But you really need to speak out, really speak out within your maybe family, and because
I don't
those
think
are
you can bury such experiences. So basically,
Yes.
for sure, art helps, but in the end, you have to actually embrace and actually face that person eventually. I don't know, you are not.
Yeah, then I was thinking, he has a family. What would happen to
I
his
don't think
kids?
about
Like,
that.
I'm
Don't think
worrying
about that.
the victim.
Think about
Yeah.
you. Think
Yes,
about
then
you.
I don't know why I have that thought. And
You
I
are
just,
too kind. Too
maybe
kind
later
and too
on
good.
I will have the courage. I don't know. But now, I think I want to send a message through my artwork.
But
to
on
say,
the other hand, maybe he will hurt someone else.
Yeah.
So
And the kids
I don't know.
will learn some I don't know, something out of
Yeah, well, it's a sensitive issue
experience.
for sure.
Definitely.
But you can talk about this now.
Definitely not an easy issue to talk about. It's good to let it out and then have frequent talks about this, not only in art talks but social talks.
Yeah, but I hope I can encourage people who have the same experience. If they are like how I was thinking before, maybe they have the courage to actually speak out or speak to someone.
Sure, definitely. In this society, in this part of the world, it really needs courage to speak out
Yeah.
about these things. How about you, Irina? What is your favorite work? Can you get over there if
I'm relating to the next project because it's always actually for me it's more like I'm getting excited by the process itself. I like to explore. For sure, I somehow with this installation I'm here. I am. In this context, it doesn't really have space to be on display as I planned before, and I would like to continue actually to have an exhibition with the proper, because this is the name of this installation is Dandelion, and it was kind of created also during the residence in Jingdezheng summer 2020. Jingdezheng is the capital of porcelain in China.
Yes.
And I was fascinated to this translucency of Chinese cups. They always advertise this is the most expensive and the most fine porcelain, and I wanted to learn how they do it. Of course, it's a secret. They don't disclose the secret recipe, but you have means in that place to go and actually
and willingness.
you can go. Of course, it's a multiple steps process. So I'm gonna continue with that installation, and eventually have like a huge round circular display which kind of reassemble this dandelion. I was inspired by this puffing I actually have in my PPT gesture when I don't know, I was doing that when I was a child, and 2020 synchronized with the COVID situation, and this aim for hope and spreading I don't know, something more positive when everything was closed, and it was it's still ongoing for sure, but somehow we got used to it for now.
Yeah, that's a beautiful symbol of
and in French it means like dandelion, who is French here. Like it's like the sun, the lion's That, yeah, teeth.
Ah, teeth. Well, no, I know French, but I don't know all the words.
I don't know. I just when I started researching, I found that it was a funny.
Interesting.
When you do research, you always discover symbols and many layers you can go forward
right.
and connect to your own experience, to your own personality, to your own. I don't know. It's like a scientist work to me. It's like you find the cultural significance and. It's interesting, and then of course it's abstract. Nobody will see it at the beginning when they look at it, but if they have this connection and explanation, I think it's actually more relevant.
Yeah, well,
than just a lamp.
It's obviously it's a very interesting installation, but I would have a piece of it in my home, if not all. I would have a piece of it because it's a beautiful atmosphere, creates a beautiful atmosphere, and with a dim light, but the shapes are wonderful, and then invites to a certain type of meditation and thinking of everything like in a lighter manner, spreading positivity. Let's see, what other question? Weina, what is your most important artist's tool? What do you like most?
I would say at the moment it's still camera. But I'm exploring other works like the one I did in 2019. There's performance art, and I'm planning so we are going to hoping to explore more about that and to be to work on.
Yeah, good, great. I mean, camera it's your own eye and your own soul.
Yeah.
It's a tool, but it's a tool that could be used in a perfect way. What is your tool, Irina?
I think hands.
Definitely, yeah. You need more hands.
Sometimes, yes, for sure. For sure, you cannot do everything. Sometimes you can actually use someone else's skills. Like I went to this Jing, they have like different little workshops, and you can actually ask them to do them all, which is shortening the time of your creation, or do this actual thing. They don't want to tell me the recipe, so they just order for sure and multiply. But the original idea comes from making a little sculpture. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so still hands and brain, if
brain is it's
and heart, because art is about emotion and feelings.
Yeah. Good, interesting. How do you find yourself within this exhibition, both of you? How do you find your research, your artistic expression within this, identify yourself with this theme like Soulscapes?
Soulscapes, I think it's, we always do some sort of soulscapes. It's like kind of a definition of art. Every piece is a soulscape because it's a reflection of your own feeling, of your own personality, of your self-portrait, I don't know, and whatever abstract or less abstract imagery it goes, depends on, I think it's always a soulscape in a way.
Yeah.
It's quite...
Yeah, well, that's how it was intended to, as a theme. It's general, and it's all about art, and artists have their inner research is always connected with the soul and the heart and the mind. Therefore, yes, it's a generous theme. So, how about you?
For sure. I love the name. I think I told you when you have that name.
Yeah.
And I think basically when we're doing artwork, like you said, the whole journey is a soulscape. The whole journey you're going with, like traveling with your soul, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, and it's a short title, therefore it's easier to talk about it and promote it in terms of posters and so on. Irina, can you switch places somehow and show us a little bit of your artworks? Because I want the audience here, present here, and also all around the world who are watching us, to see what your creations
So
are.
I kind of compile my PPT like pretty short around the questions you were asking, like you drafted. So basically, I don't know, I was born in this, wait. Can you see? And like, Eastern
somehow.
Europe, pretty small country, like the poorest in the Europe. So I'm not like proud of it, but that's the truth.
Don't worry, you have good wine. So.
It's like nobody knows about it, so that's why I kind of wanted to highlight. It was part of USSR and
It was part of Romania.
Before,
And still until 1940, it was part of Romania.
It's very tiny.
That's where I
and
speak
that's
Romanian.
where I spent 16 years and afterwards. So this is my neighbor, by the way. We kind of he also. So this is the kind of. He's quite famous, and somehow like this is the top, like very kitschy art, I would say, or something like the level I totally don't like anymore. Like I don't know, I was always feeling that I should go out and have more opportunities. So for sure, like something they maybe there is a museum, but there is not the proper art market, and it's more like a flea market if you go to this place. And anyhow, like what is interesting as a travel is more like maybe the social architecture part they were building across USSR back then. So yeah, this is one of my memories places. It was a circus. We were going pretty often with my family, and I have this I don't know clown and thing memories. I don't really have my family. Pictures or anything like drawing from childhood, even though my mom was always collecting and keeping it. But we are all immigrants and spread across the world, so no family portrait. And then here I kind of jumped into like more recent context, recent 2017 in China, and yeah, I was studying in Romania, which was like basically you had two choices to either go towards the Russian part or towards European part, which was through Romania. So I went to Romania and then graduating and everything. Like I'm not going into biography, and then
I want to stop you here and tell everybody that we actually somehow have I didn't know Irina in Romania. I met her here in Shanghai, and how the art world is so small, and we actually have friends in common, her colleagues like Andrea Albani, and we met here, and then we had so many things in common. I said, oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's yeah, how I met my husband as well. We met here. Like I came here for 6 months, and I for sure China is such an adventure. Like maybe that's one of the powerful things, like as a which can be expressed in art is I don't know, different culture clashes and travel. I don't know, cultural differences.
Yeah.
And I came for 6 months just to I don't know, to see, to experience, like as a curious personality, as an artist, I'm always going for, I don't know, interesting things. And I stayed longer, like I'm here for 8 years now.
Great.
But I think it's pretty common for, I don't know, majority of us. So yeah.
Here we have an artist, Magic Ma,
Yeah,
right?
Magic Ma, he's also a curator. He's organizing pretty many art festivals and exhibition, and this was one of our first collaboration. It was at Tongji University, which is like famous for art and design mostly. So my background is mostly like a painting, but traditional oil painting, acrylic drawing, but somehow I'm moving towards, like this is one of ARTZ launching exhibition. I just put a few shots, and this is somehow, this painting for instance, like when I say I'm reaching or gathering inspiration and within culture, this was like linked to Van Gogh cutting his ear, and
Yes.
it was a kind of self-portrait with this vibrant yellow one palette from like inspired from me. Maybe it's not obvious, but somehow that was the idea initially. And also kind of from this is called Occam Razor, which was made about when I came to China and it was pollution. So when I was getting outside, sometimes 8 years ago, it was such a high level of pollution, like you were cutting with a knife. And it was, I don't know, somehow personal experience. So this was actually happening yesterday. I jumped directly into this.
Good.
So one of the questions were like, how do we work and how the process evolves. It always depends on the project. Sometimes it's self-driven, like the ones I showed before. This one was actually a concept brought by the curator. It's at the Goethe Institute, like the German consulate, and the concept is to fight the violence. So the opening was yesterday. It's still on until September, and for sure it's going to evolve into a bigger one. And somehow it's a project about social art. How do we shape a better society, and how we raise this awareness? And there were 40 artists trying to come up with some sort of solution. I don't know about
That's very interesting. So again, suffering and dramas of women.
Yeah, it started actually as a feminist project by this curator Zane. She started in Nanjing with some post-feminism project, and then it evolved into this more general umbrella of
all kind of violence
Yeah.
and suffering.
So
yes.
yeah, I jumped into this, and then I wanted to show why I showed that, because that was how I work. This is a shot from the studio. This is a shot how I work, like pictures. One of the pieces, like it's a recent oil painting about, like, for that project opened yesterday. Voice Your Silence. It's about actually speaking, and of course, like as a subject matter, it's one of the powerful, mobile, and actually and oversized. It's not natural. So that's, I asked friends, do you want to pose for me? I'm not gonna disclose the names, but yeah, they are, like, as friends for sure. They're always supportive and understanding me and personality, and not feeling like it's something they won't do. And in the end, okay, I think I jumped. So in the end, this is the final piece I created, and this is some sketches in watercolor. So that's the process. Sometimes it's a long process. Sometimes, as I mentioned, so this is a shot from a bar. We are going at our corner bar. We always go with Alex, and somehow, like, I see something alight, I take a photo, and then I transfer it, and maybe this kind of imagery is also. This is kind of these pages from visual diary, as you name. So yeah, it so showed this kind of meat drying in the street, like in China is very common. So I'm kind of collecting all this. It's a chaos. It doesn't really have a logic or order, but yeah, it's in the end emerging in something I can use in my art afterwards. Yeah, the same thing here. Like, I think it was a project. Like, it was during COVID. We were in quarantine. And before I was shooting, I have many pictures from the street. It was a queue at some local shop, and then just by this microscopic, it's not the same picture, but I had another one. I couldn't find it right now, which was kind of emerging into this during the quarantine art session, and then it went into another way of expression, into this ceramic mini installation, which was part of this another group show.
Yes, under the rock at Lulu's museum. Yeah.
So this kind of different. Now I'm going to do more abstract forms, maybe, but very geometric and very, I don't know, colorful. And this is, I'm experimenting with resin. I like different materiality of things. Floor and kind of a corner, which was a little bit emphasizing the quality of light and how it goes around in more circular manner than here, for instance. So yeah, and somehow it connected. I wanted to highlight that to just, again, quarantine time. But this was shot before, so it's hard to explain creativity, but it's connecting all the dots at some point. And I wanted to finish here with the wisdom from the subway and from the typical t-shirts.
Yeah.
Joke. Just trust your madness in a way.
I think we all have some experiences with people and t-shirt messages or code messages.
Yeah, I have my collection. I don't really post anywhere, but like I just.
That's great. That's great.
I have my.
That was not planned, but I was wanting to. I wanted to ask you, both of you, because both of you studied art in Europe. How do you feel about your studies as it's in Bucharest and you in England? How do you feel it shaped your few careers and future careers they are now?
Well, I think, shall we start with complaints or
whatever, you're alive, so all your teachers, if they're...
I don't know, first thing comes up to my mind as a complaint, the lack of business management and that business education. I think that's very important, especially in such a field where you don't really know what to do and how to implement these things. It's always like kind of you're trusting your, I don't know, God, and networking. It's very weird. Like it should be a little bit more organized, like to know. For sure, you know, as a student, and you kind of communicate with your peers, but there is not such a a course, which is, I think, it's very important. And I feel like for me it was really hard to figure out how to actually survive and pay my bills and stuff like that.
There's still very hard for the students, actually, for the students of the National University of Arts.
Yeah, it's common for actually art field for sure, but I don't know, it can be sorted out, or at least trying to, like with such course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, it's always about
on the
politics.
other hand, like for sure I met really like I don't know, interesting people, inspiring people, like professors, and I don't know, I think it's all kind of influenced my art as well, so it was in the end good experience apart from the business part.
How about you, Weina?
I think my experience is different as yours, because for you I think the culture isn't as different.
No.
But for me, coming from China to the UK, it's a huge difference. It's a life-changing experience for me, because growing up in China, the teacher teach you not to ask questions, or they don't teach you how to think. So growing up, because I was terrible at math, so I grew up thinking I was not a bright kid. That's seriously what I thought about myself.
Yeah.
And from all the criticism getting from the teacher. Then when I was studying in the UK, there's once one of the teacher was saying, you're intelligent, sophisticated young lady. Then I was thinking, is that me? Like, is he talking about me? I couldn't believe it.
Wow. Yeah, lack of confidence.
Yes, having those experience, like I remember at the beginning when the teacher asked, they always ask questions to the students, what do you think of this? At the beginning, I struggled to come up with the answer because no one has asked me what I think before, like in the class. Yeah. And I love the teaching system in there, and it definitely opened up my eyes. And living there for 9 years has been such a great experience.
Well, that's good. That's excellent.
How was coming back actually afterwards? Like, don't you feel like an outsider?
Yes, having a counterculture experience. Yeah. Actually, can I quickly show some of my works? Actually, the work I had for my masters were actually talking about that. I had it. This was.
Oh,
Cindy Sherman
time. Yeah.
But that's in 2007. So the topic is disorientation, because I felt living there for a long time. Like there's part of me learning about British culture, but deep down I'm Chinese. Yeah. So I felt like I didn't fit in. I could never be British. But when I came back to China, I could never be Chinese again. So that's like a confusion inside me, like asking myself the questions like, who am I? And I had those images, like opening the drawer, and this frame thing actually came from the picture I had there.
Yeah, frame.
And because when I had that work, like I think in my head I was thinking maybe later on I want to do a work that express my feeling then. But then this like 13 years later, I finally did some work that's related to.
Well, it's good. It's good. It means in your soul, deep down, you left it unfinished, and then you took it and finalized it somehow. And that's what an artist should do.
That's a
with a good idea.
And the reason I was using the frame was like, so when you are looking at yourself, you don't actually, you look at other people, you look out, but you actually. When I look at it, the person being in the frame, and then it's like that. So that's what I did. Feel like the cultural differences.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are
Yes.
And actually, the eyes kind of alert is similar to the one in the one that I had when I was in the bathtub, just feeling alert about the environment. And yeah. But I'm happy that I finally have a work that related to that.
So there definitely you show your possibilities even in acting, being expressing through your mimics and face, and that's great. That's great.
Yeah, but now when I think about it, I feel like I'm happy that back then I was happy to use myself, my body as experiments of my art. I think. Yeah.
So the body as an instrument. Also, apart from your camera, you have your entire body as an instrument.
For sure.
I think it's been an inspiring talks. I don't know how about you guys. I think it's wonderful. Do you have some questions for our artists here? Do you think that something left unsaid, or you have some questions about what you saw projected on the TV screen?
I just want to say it's nice looking at your work on Instagram, both of you. I looked at them this morning and I liked a few of your pieces. I really liked how I can look at your visual works online and see your explanations in person. Now I can really understand your work more, because that's the most important thing about artists. When you go to an exhibition or gallery, you don't really know the depth of what the work is about unless you go and meet the artist or know the background of the artist. And many people go to places and look at stuff and go, oh no, but you don't make that connection unless you meet the artist or understand what the explanation is about. And I think that's the most important thing of coming to places like this is to meet the artist while they're still living and have access via now with the web.
Yeah, it takes time actually to dig into the and try to understand.
So Keith is a British artist.
Yes, Keith Hall, I know.
Yeah, painting. And last time when I went to his exhibition at the opening, like what you said, until I listened to your talk, and I understand a lot more about your work.
I think this issue here, it's somehow outside the artist per se. When we are talking about social media, we are talking somehow about the artist becoming a marketing person, and maybe at some point the artist is not such a good marketer in terms of showing, in showing his or her art, their art. But it's a work in progress. We're living in a technological world. Therefore, if the comprehensive image of an artist, apart from the art itself, is the presence throughout social media, an artist should learn more about how to manage their image through it, and maybe hire someone, have money, sell, and hire someone to do it for.
That's our dream.
Yes, well, thank you everybody for being here. It's inspiring, it's very interesting to see these divas, how I call them, our wonderful artists. And hopefully we'll see each other soon next week with another Artist Talk series. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you for coming.